Stephen, like a lot of tax policy experts and budget watchers, you've been watching this Moore case closely, and we don't usually focus on one particular uh, case, but this one had broad implications for the tax code, and it turned out maybe to be a bit of a fizzled out case in terms of the broad implications. But there are still, as you wrote in a blog recently, some big questions still remaining. So why don't you give us a little bit of the background of what the case was about, and then how the court handled it.
Sure, Bob. Nice to chat with you today, you and Steve. The Moore case is one of the biggest tax cases we've seen in a century. And potentially, the Moore case portended disaster for our tax code, potentially. However, the Supreme Court ruled narrowly, sticking to the facts at hand and restraining itself from wider pronouncements about the constitutionality of other swaths of our tax code. And so in the immediate term, there's very little to the tax code that will be upended. However, the court signaled, at least half of the judges, four of the judges, signaled that they were skeptical about many of the code provisions that have been drafted, at least using what is known as a departure from the realization principle. That is, that cash needs to be realized before it's taxed. So I expect lots of challenges going forward. And so there is a state of flux.
Let me go back and just set a little bit of the factual background here. The Moores invested in a foreign corporation, American-controlled foreign corporation. That corporation earned profits which they did not distribute to their shareholders, and Congress. So they had never distributed any money, as I understand it, to the Moores. When Congress passed the what did they call it? The repatriation tax, mandatory repatriation tax in 2017. Part of it was this one-time tax on the attributable earnings of the corporation to the shareholders, which included the Moores. And so they had to pay tax on this money that had been earned by the corporation but not distributed to the shareholders. It's not really that confusing. The money had been earned and realized by the corporation, and the tax was attributed, the income was attributed to the shareholders and taxed to the shareholders. And I guess so the Moores were arguing, we never got the money, so we shouldn't pay the tax.